Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan and this is your JIS news for Friday, July 26, 2024. Government has relieved the tax burden on persons importing goods for Hurricane Beryl relief and rehabilitation. Customs duty and GCT is being temporarily lifted over the period July 4 to August 23, 2024. A statement from the Ministry of Finance advises that the Minister granted approval for this to apply to goods which the Commissioner of Customs is satisfied are being imported for relief and rehabilitation. This arises from the activation of the Disaster Risk Management Act and is in accordance with Item 30B of the second schedule to the Customs Tariff and Section 47 of the GCT Act. Motorists using the Maypen to Williamsfield leg of Highway 2000 have been given a reprieve at the toll until August 17. Government is pushing back the previously announced July start date on compassionate grounds in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. This will also facilitate a smoother transition for commuters and businesses that rely on the highway. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says delaying the toll charges will allow critical resources and attention to be directed to communities in the southern parishes which were hardest hit and ensure they receive the necessary support to rebuild and recover. Mr. Holness says this intervention by the government is in recognition of the immense challenges being faced by residents in the wake of the hurricane and offer them some relief. He says the National Road Operating and Construction Company NROC will continue to monitor the situation closely and provide updates as needed. The National Cleanup Campaign, which includes the removal of bulky waste, got off to an official start in Portmore on Wednesday. The island-wide initiative is being led by the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, which has put its newly acquired crane and tipper trucks into action to execute the work. In Portmore, over 100 workers were deployed and several derelict vehicles and other forms of solid waste were removed. At the launch, Prime Minister Andrew Holness reiterated the need for citizens to practice proper waste disposal, which he argues has a serious impact on climate change and natural disasters.
When you drive along the roads coming in and you see all the plastic bottles strewn along the roadway, how did it get there? Somebody in the car, wind on the window, throw it out. Somebody walking, drinking the water, drop it there. We cannot continue like that as a people. When it gets into the earthen drains, that prevents the water from moving through. So it's not just the trees that block the drain, it is the plastics.
The cleanup campaign is also supporting some aspects of the dengue mitigation initiative.
Between the NSWMA and the NWA, $1.3 billion has been allocated. And I'm speaking funds now, budget, to be able to go right across Jamaica and deal with these issues of areas being waterlogged and deal with the issues of the collection of bulky waste, which contributes to the breeding sites for vectors.
An anti-money laundering AML unit has been established within the Companies Office of Jamaica, COJ, to enhance regulatory compliance and transparency. Manager for the unit, Inger Hainsley Bennett, says its primary focus is to leverage the new powers granted to registrars under the Financial Action Task Force. The unit is tasked with ensuring that information provided by companies is accurate and verifiable, in keeping with heightened scrutiny and monitoring efforts to combat money laundering and ensure financial integrity.
The AML unit therefore goes out to ensure that beneficial ownership information has been provided, and beneficial owners are the persons who ultimately own and control the company. So this unit goes out to ensure that the information provided is actually there at the company's actual location, to ensure that the information that is supplied at the company's office is in keeping with what the companies have at their registered office locations.
Mrs. Hainsley Bennett was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. Companies are being encouraged to ensure their compliance with the new regulations by filing the necessary documentation in a timely manner and maintaining accurate records. Airline seating capacity is set to increase in November when Avelo Airlines begins introducing new direct flights between Hartford, Connecticut in the United States and Montego Bay, Jamaica. Starting November 16, these non-stop flights will operate twice weekly on Wednesdays and Saturdays, providing an accessible and affordable travel option for passengers. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has welcomed the news and commended Avilo Airlines for recognizing the value of expanding their service to Jamaica. He asserts that the route is of great significance, as Connecticut and the surrounding areas represent a major market for visitors to Jamaica. Additionally, Minister Bartlett says these regions have a high concentration of Jamaica's diaspora, making this new service a vital link for families and friends. And finally, Jamaican parents will now be legally required to provide financial support to their children for an additional 5 years under specific conditions. This follows an amendment to the Maintenance Act of 2005, which now mandates that parents must support their children until they turn age 23 if the children are enrolled in educational or training programs. The amendment bill was piloted in the House of Representatives on Tuesday by the Minister of Justice, Delroy Chuck.
The amendment to the Maintenance Act seeks to allow for a maintenance order to be granted by the court after a child attains the age of 18 years for the purpose of engaging in a course of education or training, whether or not an order of maintenance had been issued prior. Such order, however, would not extend for any period beyond the child attaining the age of 23 years. The amendment also seeks to allow for the application for a maintenance order to be made by the child himself who has attained the age of 18 years, the child's parents, or any other person who has the care and custody of the child.
Minister Chuck says the amendment to the Maintenance Act results in the consequential amendment to the Children, Guardianship and Custody Act in order to achieve consistency throughout legislation. The bill received bipartisan support and was passed without amendment. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.